edition. New day.
Back again.
Guess who's back in the house?
Us. In the house.
Drag Race reference for those who get it. You don't watch RuPaul's Drag Race?
Never.
You're going to love it.
I just know it. I watched it when I was hungover. I may have told you this.
You were in a vulnerable state.
I was in a vulnerable state. My friend put it on. We may have done about 10 episodes. I thought, this is it for me. So never again will I be able to watch it.
You would. The thing is, you love like drag culture, gay culture. You love all of that. You've just not got into it.
I just can't. I don't know why. It's the hangover. It's almost because I'm one of those contrarians that everyone else loves something, so I refuse. Yeah, I'm one of those.
You like Stranger Things though?
I do like, and I love absolutely, but I always get into things too late. Like Breaking Bad, I was like, nah, it's overrated. As soon as it finished, I was like, I'm gonna watch Breaking Bad.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But you were finished.
Yeah, that's true. Is it finished now, Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yeah. You've not seen the last season, have you?
No, I have a friend. So I'm on the current latest one on Netflix. So I'm in Netflix timelines, so it's
not
different. My friend loves Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and he's always like, why have you not finished it?
When we used to work together, I was like, Olivia, you've got to watch it, you're going to watch it, please watch it. And when you got into it, and you're like, it's so good, Shelley. And I was like, yeah.
My top tip, it's anything like New Girl, it's like that, isn't it? It's just so good.
Have you watched Parks and Rec?
Yeah, I've seen all of Parks, and like the US Office,
yeah.
They're all similar, but New Girl is like...
Schitt's Creek?
Yeah, I love Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, okay.
I love that, and normally like it takes a while for me to get into things like Community. I probably would love, but I'm just not.
Yeah, I was gonna say Community. Like for me, Schitt's Creek. I was like, oh, I'm not sure if I like it for like the first couple of episodes, but I think it's because American series they have to sell it like so hard. It's so extreme in the first season that it's like whoa for a British, and when you get into it. But Community is good. It's a bit of a slow burner. It's not as good as the rest, and it is bad as soon as Donald Glover leaves. I'm like, but it is good.
God, what's the other one as well? Oh, Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Different vibes, but I've heard good things.
So good. Chaotic. Good.
I like Chaotic.
Good. And Rob McAnally, is that how you say his name? He owns Wrexham, doesn't he, with Ryan Reynolds? They
God, yeah. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds. What a man.
Your bottle's in shot.
Oh, let me get it out.
In shot. Dirty. That's fine.
It's quite a dirty bottle, actually, because I took it to the gym. For some reason, the gym is the dirtiest place.
I mean, that checks out. Sweat. People who haven't showered.
Yeah,
who haven't eaten.
Yeah.
People probably don't eat very well. So, yeah.
It's manic in there.
Fair enough.
Eating too well, so the muscles are... Anyway, that's a different...
Was it you who told me that? No, I don't think it was you. I think it was someone else I went to school with. It was like, she used to love muscles. I like muscles anyway. But then she went off them when like her brother told them they look like a vagina.
Oh my God.
Mind blown.
And
it's got little clammy lips and it's like a little vagina.
Oh, I'm not a big muscle person.
What, clams?
Like...
Do you like seafood though? Like, do you like crab? Lobster?
I love... As in muscle, I thought we were talking about muscles as in the muscles on the body.
Yeah, but you said muscles and my brain leapt. And I was like, muscles.
I got confused. I was like, wait a minute.
But you just went with it. You're like, I'm just going to this goes.
I love mussels, the food, and I love all seafood. But I'm trying to give up crab and lobster for something higher than me.
Fair.
It's hard.
So, yet again, the scenery is different if you're watching, because buying a house is a fucking roller coaster of never-ending DIY, basically. We were going to... It was beautifully white.
Yeah.
Not patchy at all. Then we were like, let's paint it white, realised the paint was peeling, thus realised we had to scrape off all the fucking paint, which meant we had to patch up the holes, and now we have to sand it and paint it again. So it's looking a little scruffy, but once it's white, I think I'm going to do like an arch of colour, and then maybe put some shelves in it.
That's nice.
And then we'll get either 2 seats or like a sofa and like some cushions, and that'll be our little studio.
Yeah, I very much live in the DIY world now.
But it's one fucking day at a time with me, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that would look cool. It's like I have the vision, but I don't have the energy or effort or patience or anything that would go into DIY.
I don't either, but when you live in the place, like this is where I work, and like we need to make it habitable so I can work in here.
Yeah, that's fair.
So otherwise I'll be sitting at the kitchen table again.
That's fair.
So like that is my motivation to actually get it done, because like I don't want to be on the kitchen table again. I want my double screens.
Yeah, the double screens are a way of life. I know someone who had triple screen. I was like, impossible.
See, I would end up doing work, Netflix if it was triple.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely you'd have it on.
constantly. I get distracted. But yeah, that is what it is. So yeah, it's sanding galore. It's dusty as hell. You've already got a dusty bum.
Yeah, my jumpers, everything's dusty, but I don't mind.
I was like, Olivia, careful, it's really dusty. She's like, okay, I'll just lean here. I was like, no!
I have a serious problem. I'm like, hear what people say, and like my brain's like, nah, let's ignore that every single time. It's like, do we want to?
I'm
like,
fresh and clean.
I'm listening. Yeah, I'm listening, but something's not commuting. There's a part that's not connected.
Well, yeah, it makes sense. Right, so today, we're going to talk about fairy tales.
Yeah, and I actually have no idea really about what we're going to discuss.
Going blind. This is going to be every week. She's going to go blind. It's going to be quite fun. It's going to be quite fun. So did you like read fairy tales when you were younger? Were you read fairy tales? Did you watch them?
I think I was read them. I was more interested in the dark, like Grimm's, which says a lot about my personality now. It's like the Grimm fairy tales, and obviously I watched a lot of Disney. But I've said before, I'm not really into cartoons, so obviously like fairy tale film versions of cartoons. So,
did you ever used to watch? It was on CBBC, like children's TV. It was like Grizzly Tales for Gruesome Kids.
Yes, that used to like somewhere in my brain it disturbed something not good. I remember just feeling anxiety about that show.
It's like a 7-year-old's introduction to horror films.
Yeah, it's horrific. But I think that's almost too bad for a 7-year-old.
Nah, it's fucking brilliant.
Oh, some of that stuff.
You love horror films, now. You were just talking about fucking horror festival. You're like, let's go to this Halloween horror festival. It's just live action and mazes, and you just have to like scream your way out of it. And yeah, let's go. So like, you obviously enjoyed it on a deeper level.
Oh, I did.
But your consciousness as a child wasn't able to process what that feeling was.
No, definitely not. And I think I love being scared, but not like.
You took so much for me to not be like, ooh.
Yeah, well, I get scared too, but like horror mazes and stuff like that are my vibe. Like, I love going through horror mazes.
Because when me and Frank went to Poland, you were like, go to Lost Souls Alley and do the horror escape room. Did you do the easy? There wasn't different levels, was it? It was just extreme.
No, it was just the straight.
Did they rip your clothes when you went there?
No, I think they just chased me through some buildings, I think.
So let's rewind. There's in Krakow in Poland, there is a escape room place called Lost Souls Alley. Not sponsored. If they want to sponsor us, absolutely fine. It's brilliant. It's only about what, £10?
God, I can't remember when I went.
£10? I went.
It was hilarious when we went.
You went quite a few years ago. I went in 2019, and they obviously upped their game. You could choose different levels. One was like all fun, no pain. One was like all fun, but they can touch you. One was mostly fun, but some pain. And then it was just like all pain, no fun. We went for like all fun, but they can touch you. Me and Frank did. It was just us two. And then this random Irish guy called Daryl got like put in with us. We were like, cool. It's like 5 different rooms. At one point, Daryl was put into a coffin, and the guy was like dancing on the coffin to open this little hatch that me and Frank had to crawl through to the next maze.
See,
there was a guy with a cattle prod, like... That was the second easiest level.
I think I could only do that.
There's a Ouija board at the beginning, and you know, like is it Insidious, where there's like mannequins covered in like cloths?
Oh!
It was like that. This is the first room, and then the lights went out, and then there was a torch on the floor by mannequins, and I was like, I'm not fucking going over there, because someone's going to come out and fucking grab me by the throat.
I sacrificed my friend.
But it didn't. Luckily, it didn't. Frank was like, oh, don't be scared, I'll do it. It didn't. No one jumped out, and then I worked out the code to do the bookcase to get to the next room, but it was extreme. It was quite fun.
Oh, so they kind of turned it more into an escape room. Ours was like...
It was an escape room,
For ours, because there was 15 of us. I don't think you were allowed that many people, but we kind of... It must have been, yeah, we requested just because there was a big group of us, and it must have been right at the start. And I remember it being terrifying, and I forced everyone in anyway. But that was probably the scariest thing. So nothing scares me anymore, like horror maze-wise. Like you go Fort Park or this Fright Night Festival.
Fright Night at Fort Park has gone downhill.
Yeah, I agree.
A couple of years ago, before COVID? Probably before COVID. And I'd already been before that, and it was a bit creepy. But then, and I wasn't much younger, I was like, it was 2 years before that. And I was like, oh, is this it? And they were just like, I was like, okay.
Because everyone's scared to touch each other now, but it's a bit more like, maybe they get a bit closer. I like the section between me and that zombie right now. Are we going to kiss?
Maybe we should.
Maybe. And I feel like it was very easy, this Poland one. It was like, we couldn't find the key in the box, and they were just like, it's in the box. And we're like, what? And they're like, it's in the box. And it was hilarious. Maybe we need to do maybe a podcast on like our favourite spots, maybe travelling wise as well, like stuff like that, like little gems in cities. Because
they definitely upped it. It was very extreme when we went, and it was so good. Like I just remember one bit, like I was literally cowering, and this stranger, this Daryl man, he was really tall. Me and Frank were really short. This guy was really tall, and I was like, oh my god.
I'm gonna have to go back now.
But like, we literally had to crawl for like a cat flap while Daryl was in this coffin. Like I don't know how people. We're quite small, but I don't know how people would fit. It was so small. It was really, and then there was that horror one. You didn't come to that horror one. A different escape room in England where my friend had to be locked in a box from both sides. Brilliant, honestly brilliant. Yeah, anyway, so we talked about got carried away already.
Yeah, sorry,
it's
fairy
okay.
tales.
Absolutely, fairy tales. So
that makes sense. Carried away.
Yeah, it does. We get carried away in the magic of the story. So I've got loads of stuff written down here. So a fairy tale is also known as a wonder tale, a magic tale, or a fairy story, and it's an instance of short story folklore. So as you know, these stories typically feature mythical creatures like dwarves, dragons, elves, ogres, mermaids, talking animals, witches, magic, that sort of thing. So before language was standardised, so people weren't always writing, they were just speaking. So that's where these sort of stories, a lot of these stories originated from. Most cultures, there's no separation of like spoken myth and lore and fairy tale. They sort of come together before pre-literate societies were a thing. So there was like, if you talk to people from other cultures, they'll tell you like the myth of like the woman with like no waist who's going to like steal you, and you've got to put like rice around. There's like loads of stories like that, and they sort of blend in because they've been told from generation to generation down, and there's like different things about them. But the thing that makes fairy tales different from other folk narratives like legends, which genuinely involve like something that's real, so like a real place or a real thing, is that they kind of exist outside of time. They're always like once upon a time. It's never like in this place or in that place, or if it is in a place, it's a place that doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Like Simpsons. Simpsons doesn't exist, but it kind of does in a way. Whereas like fables are normally moral. So like the hare and the tortoise, slow and steady wins the race. That's kind of the way that thing. It doesn't exist in a time, but the story is
a lesson.
There's a lesson. Exactly. So another main trope of fairy tales is they always end with unusual happiness. They've always got the happy ever after.
Unusual happiness?
Because like in reality, if you are homeless and then you manage to find the love of your life and then you married a prince who you just met, that wouldn't happen in real life, would it?
I get what you mean.
Do you see what I mean? So it's like a nice little, there's a struggle, there's like a little conflict, and then it's wrapped up in a neat little bow, and everyone who's bad gets punished and everyone who's good, who's treated unfairly, has a really lovely life now. So that's kind of how they work.
Yeah, because I studied them at uni, fairy tales.
Did you?
Whole, like, semester of fairy tales.
It's a bit gone, isn't it?
Yeah, God knows. Couldn't
That's what Ziggit does to you.
That's what 2 rounds of Ziggit Festival do to you. Surprised I've not omitted my name.
Oh, I'm surprised you remember who I am.
Where am I?
So other kinds of folklores are myths, legends and epics, and fairy tales and legends sometimes merge when the story is perceived to have formed from some sort of true thing, and it's just sort of woven into like a story to sort of make it seem a bit lighter. However, unlike legends and epics, like I said, they don't take place in a specific time, so it's just they're sort of surface level references to places and maybe even somewhat religious motifs, but it's a timeless, placeless thing, so that way, which just makes sense because a lot of these come from different languages and the story is still relevant in different languages because it's not like here in Paris or here in this place, it's just like a place.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Very true.
Yeah. So the fairy tale in spoken form is a subclass of folklore, and many writers have written forms of fairy tales, and these are literary fairy tales. So the oldest form, is from Panchatantra, which is the ancient Indian collection of interrelated animal fables in Sanskrit, which is quite cool. So the author is unknown of that. The surviving work is dated to be around 200 BCE. But the fables in it are most likely to be even more ancient. And then there's also Petramarone, which is subtitled Lokanti de la Kunti, which translates as Tales of the Tales. And that's 17th century Neapolitan fairy tale collection by Italian poet and courtier Giambattista Basile.
I think I remember that name.
Yeah, it's coming back to you now, isn't it?
Yeah, I remember that name.
So those show how much work's gone from the oral form to the written form. And the Grimm brothers were among the first to try and preserve the features of oral fairy tales.
Savage.
Savage, we'll get to that later. Yet the stories printed under the Grimm name have been considerably reworked to, in written form. That's why you'll see the Grimm Brothers version, and then you'll see like Charles Perrault version, and then you'll see the Disney version or whatever.
Yeah.
So while it's common knowledge that lots of fairy tales originate from like Nordic and European lore, the true origins, they're just so hard to trace because they've come from, you know, stories and stories and stories, and we've obviously had loads of colonization and like different interracial things happening that it just translates and it's just stories. So it's so hard to pinpoint. But lots of 18th century folklorists attempted to recover the pure folktale, uncontaminated by literary versions, but they're like to exist thousands of years beforehand that it's just impossible, basically.
Yeah.
So, fun fact. Before the definition of the genre of fantasy, many works that would now be classified as fantasy would be fairy tales under the genre. So that includes Tolkien's The Hobbit, George Orwell's Animal Farm, and L. Frank Baum's The Wizard of Oz. Because they're kind of timeless, aren't they? I mean, there's places, but they're not real places. If you think of The Wizard of Oz, happy ending.
It could be anywhere.
There's like little motifs of like courage and bravery and all that sort of thing. Yeah. So yeah, there are too many folklore and fairy tale authors to mention, but which ones have you heard of? What else? We mentioned a couple.
Probably just the Grimm brothers. And there's the one that's like the light-hearted version of them, I think. I can't remember what his name is. Sounds like the guy that is the actor in Star Wars.
Yeah. You're thinking of Hans Christian Andersen. Yeah. That was really good. Han Solo,
I was thinking of bloody, oh God, I forgot what his name is. The actor that plays Darth Vader.
Oh, I can't remember his name.
Christian Andersen or something. Hayden Christian. Something.
I don't know.
I'm making big
sorry.
Also, Han Solo makes it.
I'm really sorry, Star Wars fans. But yeah, so the ones I've heard of were Brothers Grimm, Charles Perrault, Hans Christian Andersen, and Jean-Marie Le Prince de Beaumont.
Oh, okay.
Right, so I've got some other versions of Disney films here. Can you guess what films there are by the name? All right, so this is like the more of an original name.
Okay.
And then you're going to guess it. So we've got La Reine de Neige.
Snow White?
You are so close. That translates as the Snow Queen.
Oh, so...
What film is that?
Frozen?
Yeah, it's Frozen.
No!
Yeah.
Frozen's a fairy tale.
Well, it comes from the fairy tale La Reine de Neige.
I thought they just made that up.
Still everything, don't they? That's fine.
Damn it, Disney.
Someone's got to.
That's
make
true.
a coin.
I think it's...
Maybe not Walt himself, but the company where they are now, maybe. So the Frog Prince.
Princess and the Frog?
Yes. The Emperor's New Clothes.
The Emperor's New Groove?
Yeah, we're good. Rapunzel.
It's Tangled.
Yep. La Belle et la Bête.
Oh, my favourite, The Beauty and the Beast.
Yes. And the Glass Slipper.
Cinderella.
Absolutely, yes.
First one was hard.
Yeah, it was. I put the hard one in the beginning. So many Disney films, as we said, are derived from fairy tales. So let's go through some famous ones and talk about their original stories before they got watered down and made a bit more acceptable by society.
Okay.
So in Snow White, in the film we know it, obviously you've got Snow White and her dad's the king. The wife, she wants, a beautiful daughter. She dies in childbirth. She has Snow White. She's got fair skin, dark hair, red lips. And then the magic mirror is like, when the king remarries to the new queen, she asks the magic mirror, and he says Snow White is the fairest of them all, and she's like, fuck that bitch. For you, in Tampen region. So she's like, no, this isn't acceptable. I'm going to try and kill her. She tries to kill her. It doesn't work. She's like, I'm going to run and live with these dwarves. Very accepting. We love that. They've got great work ethic.
Yeah, great work ethic.
They live in a beautiful home. And quite frankly, they're doing most of the work. She's cleaning and doing the pies, but, they're good lads.
I always wonder which of the seven dwarves I would get on the best with. And I've got a feeling it would be Dozy.
Dopey. I was thinking Dopey or maybe Sleepy.
Sleepy, I've just combined both of them.
Yeah. I feel like I'd have some chats with Doc, but I feel like it'd get too deep.
No, that man, I feel like it'd piss me off, Doc.
Like, you'd be chilling, you'd be laughing and joking, and he'd be like, but it's not a joke, is it? And you'd be like, oh, okay, right.
He'd be like one of those people at a party that just, try to discuss, neuroscience with you, and you're like, I just wish to drink tequila. Like politics, and you're like, I'm just
here to get drunk. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, she does that, and then obviously she bites the apple, doesn't eat it, gets in a coma. Prince comes, saves her, they get married, and they all lived happily ever after. That is the modern Snow White. Go on, guys. Got a little linky link here.
Oh.
Because I couldn't write it all down. So in the original one, it's very, very similar. So the mother, when she's pregnant, I believe, she pricks her finger and she's like, I want a daughter with fair skin, dark hair, and lips as red as its blood. Again, real creepy story way. Like, it's a little weird, but, whatever. Go for it.
I'm vibing.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Because, she's got 3 red blood drops that go onto freshly white snow on a black windowsill. So that's kind of where it comes from. And she gives birth. Who she names Snow White dies in childbirth. A few years later, the king remarries. Similar thing. Wicked woman who practices witchcraft. I mean, I've not got a thing about witches. Give her a chance. The sun is like right in my face. You see it? It's like golden hour.
It's the golden hour.
Over here. But yeah, I mean, use your powers for good, maybe. Don't try and kill your new husband's kid, but whatever. So she says magic mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of the wall? He's like, right. Ain't you? Snow White. Same thing again.
Yeah.
Queen's like, absolutely not. She tries to get a huntsman to kill her. Same thing. Proves she's dead. She just wants to eat the heart. So that if she eats the heart, she'll be the fairest of them all. So she wants proof. But he's like, lost the heart. She's definitely dead.
Does he fall in love with her? Does that happen in the Disney?
No, he doesn't fall in love with her, but he's just like, it's okay. You can just go. He'll just let her go. And he brings her the heart of an animal instead.
Is that the film with Kristen Stewart, or am I hallucinating? There's like the Huntsman.
That's Snow White and the Huntsman, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, after wandering through the forest, she finds the 7 dwarves again. And then, she finds her bed comfortable enough. She lives with them. She works with them. Then one day, years later, Queen's at it again. Who's the first of them all? The mirror's like, still not you, bitch. And she's like, what the fuck? I need to find this girl. So, she goes and finds her. Tries to kill her by giving her... So Snow White has like lace bodices. She laces it up so tightly that Snow White faints, and then the dwarves return just in time to get her back. She's going to suffocate the girl. Literally awful. Next, the Queen dressed up as a comb seller and convinces Snow White to take a beautiful comb. She strokes the hair with a poison comb, but the girl is overcome by the poison from the comb. She's revived by the dwarves again. I'm telling you, man, Doc is putting in overtime. He's doing well. He's keeping the gang alive. Like, he may be a bit intense at parties, but...
Because Sleepy ain't doing shit.
Sleepy ain't doing shit. That's me. That's why I'm like,
shit.
What happened? He's just woke up. But yeah, she's fine. So now she decides as a farmer to do the apple. Same thing again. The farmer eats the fine apple, like the fine side, and was like, look, it's good. And Snow White's like, yeah, cool, COVID's not a thing. I'll buy from the same apple. Buys from the poison side, falls into a coma, but the Queen thinks she's dead. So the Queen's like, I've won. By the time the dwarves are unable to revive Snow White and they assume she's finally killed her, that's why the funeral happens. That's why you've got the Snow White in the glass coffin.
Oh, yeah.
Next day, the prince comes along, and after hearing the story, he's allowed to take Snow White to a proper resting place in her castle. All of a sudden, because in the real film, the prince is like, oh, look, there's an unconscious body. It'd be a shame if I were to kiss her without consent. Wouldn't it? No one's around. It's just so problematic. But anyway, proper resting place. All of a sudden, Snow White's being transported. One of the prince's servants trips and loses balance. This dislodges the piece of poison apple from Snow White's throat, magically reviving her. The prince is like, hooray! Declares his love, and they get married. But the Queen, she asks the mirror who's the fairest of all, because she's like, Snow White's finally dead, killed himself. And he's like, yeah. No, the bride of the prince, and the Queen decides to visit the wedding to see who the hell's the prince getting married to. So of course Snow White sees it's Snow White, and then the punishment for attempting to murder Snow White, the prince orders the Queen to wear a pair of red hot iron slippers and dance in them until she drops dead.
I would have liked to see that in the Disney.
Yeah. While the evil Queen finally defeated and dead, Snow White's taken her revenge, so they get married, and they're all happy. Oh, hey puppy, my dog's just stumbled in. You've had some great babysitting from upstairs, haven't you? So red hot slippers and dancing until you pass out.
I feel like I actually prefer that more. I can't really remember, but so he becomes... Okay, no, I'm with it. I needed a mimic. I needed a mimic.
Yeah. So bit more extreme than just being like, oh no, do you know what I mean?
So I feel like that version is, but they're always so more savage, those
literally.
Like the original ones.
Literally. So the next one I've got written down is Cinderella.
Yes.
So the Charles Perrault version is the version that we sort of see now, but there's been thousands of stories of Rhodopis, recounted by the Greek geographer Strabo, sometime between 7 BC and AD 23, about a Greek slave girl who marries the king of Egypt. And that's basically usually known as the earliest variant of the Cinderella story.
Yeah, because they always go way back, didn't they?
Yeah, so the Brothers Grimm version is called Aschenputtel, and that features gold slippers instead of glass slippers, which
that sounds jazzy. So they're jazzy.
And the glass slippers are from the Charles Perrault versions. That's the version we're talking about. So the main difference between, so in Cinderella, obviously we know she's got 2 stepsisters and a stepmom, same thing again. A lot of mums die in childbirth or shortly after in these. Really, isn't there?
I remember studying that trope as well. It's very much like vulnerability of women, I believe. It's something.
But then the strength of women being evil overcoming the strength of women being nice.
Exactly. It's like all the nice women die, and then all the strong women, I don't know,
survive but meet an untimely end at the end.
Yeah, they get punished. Oh, like something like Maleficent. That is from Cinderella.
Super Beauty.
Oh, it's from Super Beauty. So I've always liked the villain more. When
me and Frank went to Tokyo Disney Sea, we went there on Halloween and they had like a villains parade. It was really good. It was really, really good.
Always with that character.
I feel like they've just got a little bit more substance to them, don't they?
They've got more backstory. They've got more. Like some villains are, but I feel like Disney villains are better than most of the protagonists. Like
the only thing I will say is because of obviously the institution of Disney back in the day, a lot of like villains are sort of what society deems unattractive as well, and like those sorts of things. And like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, he's not the villain, but he's like made to be ugly and undesired and a bit scary. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyone who's like not friendly, not instantly perceived as friendly or approachable or happy, is always somewhat unattractive. Or different, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I suppose it's coming from an archaic view, I guess, in that sense. But yeah, I love a good villain. Except, what's the Ella Enchanted? Have you seen that?
No, I have not seen that.
Oh, that's so good. That's just so good. So good. That's based on Cinderella. Very modern version.
It's a Cinderella story.
Oh, and
Michael Murray and Hilary Duff.
I love that. I was watching the cringiest Disney moments, and it's so cringy. Like some of those, because is that the one where it's like, don't let the fear of. Is that one, isn't it?
I think it is.
Don't let the fear of striking out stop you from playing the game.
Yeah,
she's like throws her apron, and I was like, at the time I was like, yes. Now I'm like, what? I'm like, damn it. I think it's because I'm old, decrepit and miserable like Ursula.
I mean, Ursula's still got stuff going on. She's got a little magic thing going on. She's doing all right for herself, to be fair.
I feel like I'm more angry now. I'm more of the villain than I will ever be the princess.
I mean, well, you know. But yeah, same. So with Cinderella, obviously, the mum's died, the stepdad's there. He marries a woman who's got 2 kids. Women and the kids are like, let's make this Cinderella's life a living fucking hell. Does the dad die as well? Yeah, I think the dad dies.
Dad dies, and then...
So she's orphaned and now lives with the stepmom, and she's in the cinders, in the ashes. She's just cleaning up for them, doing everything for them, you know, hanging around with the little mice friends and the little cat friends and everything. There's a ball because, you know, apparently the prince is that much of a horrible person that no one willingly wants to marry him, so therefore he has to invite every single female from the whole town to come to a party. And she tags along because her fairy godmother's like, oh, you know, whip you up a nice little outfit, some shoes, pumpkin is a carriage.
Full vibe.
Horses will take you there. Take you where, I got you. Slippers are glass. Got to be back by midnight. Party starts at 10. Have 2 hours there. Have fun. See you later. Go on your way.
2 hours.
Well, you never know, but it is dark when they go, so it might not be 10 o'clock, but it's definitely not like 6.
Like 2 hours to become friendly, be able to have enough alcohol to mingle, I think. So I'd be like, look, woman, I need at least. You're like bargaining with her, like, please, I know this is magic. I know you can save my life, but can I please have until 2 a.m. at minimum? 2 a.m. But then also I'll be getting tired by about 1 a.m. There's so many logistics to this party.
Well, you can't be I need 3 to 5 business days notice, really, if you're going to spring up on me and save my life as a friend.
Exactly.
But yeah, and obviously, you know, clock strikes midnight, she runs off, because, you know, it's all disintegrating off of her. Her slipper is perfectly intact on the floor.
Makes sense.
Prince is like, I need to find the girl who fits the slipper because no one else has her shoe size.
No.
But I mean, they are custom made, so it's like shoe size, toe shape, heel shape, all of that stuff. goes around shoving people's feet in. None of them fit. Hers does. Get married and they live happily ever after. Awesome, exactly. So in the Aschenputtles version, the prince goes to Aschenputtle's house the next day and tries to slip her on the oldest stepdaughter. Since she has no more need for her feet when she's queen, the sister is advised by her mother to cut off her toes to fit the slipper.
Yeah.
While riding with the stepsister, the two magic doves from heaven tell the prince that blood drips from her foot. Appalled by the treachery, he goes back and tries to slip on the other stepsister. She cut off part of her heel to get her foot in the slipper. I know, right? Just sever that Achilles. Don't need it no more. Gone.
Oh.
And then yet again, the doves are like, what again? And he's like, what the fuck, man? So he's like, right, is there another gal? And the gentleman tells him that his dead wife left a dirty little Cinderella in the house, omitting to mention that she is his own daughter and that she is too filthy to be seen. So the dad is still there, I believe.
This bitch.
I know, literally, in this version. So the prince is like, do you know what? I've seen, just let her try it on. And then it fits. It's like a glove. Aschenputtel appears after washing her face and her hands. She puts on a slipper, which fits like a glove. Prince recognised her as a stranger who he danced with at a festival before trying it. And there we go. Madness, isn't it?
Would I cut off my toe to be a princess?
No.
Probably not. Although I would take some serious consideration. Maybe the heel.
I'd like to shave my head. They're like, shave your head and you're going to be a princess. You get some pretty good wigs with royalty money.
But would you...
You can't get no toes.
That's true. That's true. Would you consider yourself a Disney person? Like, would you say that you love, like, these people, like, love Disney?
I like Disney now because, you know, you've got Marvel, you've got all of that sort of stuff, but I'm not like a Disney adult. Like, I'm not running to the Disney store. I'm not like for much. I mean, I've been to Disneyland Florida when I was 9. I've been to Disneyland Paris a couple of years ago, and I went to Tokyo Disney Sea a couple of years ago. And me and my Frank and my sister and some friends are planning to go to Disneyland Florida again next year. But it's more for like the rides, and there's like Universal Studios and it's like that kind of thing. And we're not going to Disneyland. We're not going to Disneyland every single day. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't consider myself a Disney adult, would you?
No, I would not.
It's a bit too like fairy pairy happy chappy.
I would not. I think no.
But I like the Marvel side of it. I like how they have like that. So I like, you know, the X-Men and the Avengers and that sort of thing. Yeah, exactly. So I enjoy that. And then obviously Universal. It's not Disney, but that's in Florida as well.
I think I would go to the I've been to the Paris one. I think it was alright. But yeah, I don't...
You come with us if you want.
Oh yeah, you might come with us.
You come with us.
When is it? Next year?
Yeah, I'm going in September.
I'm going to go... I was either going to Thailand or America next year. So
come with us. We haven't booked it yet.
Boy, don't tempt me.
No, I'm not joking. You actually can come. We're getting a villa with a pool.
Oh my God. I think I'd come back, you know.
We're going for 2 weeks, yeah.
Oh my God.
We'll talk about it after.
Yeah, let's discuss after. So.
But yeah, look, show me over here. It's actually insane.
I'm in the dark.
I'm in the dark. But yeah, no, genuinely, we can come. It'll be fun. There's loads of room. So the next one is Little Mermaid, which is by Hans Christian Andersen.
Yes.
First published in 1837 in a collection of fairy tales for children.
Oh, cute.
Very, very cute. So in Little Mermaid, the film, this is probably the film that I've watched the least out of all of them. It's similar vibes. Mum's dead. Ariel's little. She's got a dad, Triton.
Yeah.
She's chilling with the fish. Every now and then she likes collecting stuff from humans. She's got gadgets and gizmos aplenty.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When we went to Japan, we watched like... Because they have like the rides in Disneyland, and then they also have like theatre things and like live action things.
Yeah.
So we went in a live action Ariel thing, and we were like, oh, this is really cool. And then it started, and then we were like, oh yeah, it's all in Japanese.
Oh yeah. Did they do like the 5?
So we were in there for like half an hour while she was like singing at us in Japanese. It was brilliant. Like there was loads of people in there. It was absolutely brilliant, but we didn't understand any of it, did we? So we were just like...
Is that really good? Because they've got like 4D, and then once I saw something that was 10D. So it's like, what's happening? They just can hit you at this point.
I'm going to tell you inside out. Like what else is there?
10D. I was like, 10D.
Have you seen are they called 4D Extreme cinemas in Cineworld?
Yeah, see, that's what, and then you get like water in your face.
They have like railings for you to hold on to. The whole thing's, it's like a roller coaster. And it's like, water, you get lifted up off your seat, you get smells, like...
I remember we went in one once.
What's next? Just work on the film set? Like, what is next?
Recreate the film. I remember once we were in one, in like it was 4D, a 5D magazine for my friend. And this guy, we were like, oh, things touch you. And this guy turns to my friend and was like, if you feel something in your leg during the ride, it's part of the experience. I was like, get out.
Literally, that's not acceptable.
It's not a vibe. But then after that, it's been tarnished. I'm always like, on the Darren Brown rides. On the Darren Brown ride.
Oh, when they touch you?
Yeah.
It was good. It was good when I first went it. When I went on the Darren Brown ride most recently, so I don't know, a few years ago, it wasn't as good.
No.
But we don't know if there was like someone who like they needed to tone it down for them or something on the ride. Because the first time we went on, it was like extreme. Like there's seatbelts on it.
It's not even that mad, is it?
But we got off it because it was Friday night. They were like, "You've got to get off." We got off it, walked through this weird tunnel, and there was like zombies there. And like a zombie ran towards us, and then we went on again. We was telling Frank about it. And we were like, "Yeah," and then he was like, "Oh, they didn't do any of that." I was like,
"Oh yeah, I was there when they did the zombies."
He just looked at me and my sister and was like, we were like, "It's coming from. This is gonna run down for us." Like, then we just always people they come from. So yeah, back to Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's chilling with the little fish, with her little friends. She likes collecting stuff from the humans and going to the top to look at them, look where they walk, look where they run, and all that. And then she's like, "I like this one. It's fit me. My type on paper."
Is it Prince Eric?
Yeah.
He's a bit naughty, Prince Eric.
He's a bit naughty, is he? Do you fancy Prince Eric?
Oh,
who do you fancy the most out of all the Disney princes?
Flynn Rider from...
with which nose?
Definitely. With which.
I quite like Prince David from Princess and the Frog, but he's a bit spoiled.
Seen any, except Frozen. I've not seen any.
Have you seen Frozen 2?
No. I've not seen Frozen
fucking
2.
awful.
I've not seen...
You've seen Encanto?
Nope. See, I haven't seen any.
That's good.
And there's another one, isn't there? Like...
Oh, it's really good. It makes me like happy in the song.
Something from Princess and the Frog.
And Stephanie Beatriz is the main character.
Oh.
It's aka Rosa Diaz. She's Mirabelle. Really good.
I have to watch it.
And it's quite a light read. Bit about generational trauma a little bit, but it's okay. A little bit of trauma. It's got a little trauma on it, a little flavour.
A little generic. But yeah, so I've not seen any of the new ones, basically, except Frozen.
I haven't seen any of the live action. I've seen Aladdin live action and Lion King. I haven't seen any of the others.
Seen Lion King. I like Lion King.
I quite liked it.
If anything, Prince Eric or The Beast from Beauty and the Beast. I fancy
in beast form or in human form?
In beast form. Only in beast form. When he becomes human, I'm like, ugh. Yeah.
But when he's in beast form, you're like, hey,
beast form, I'm like,
yeah, get here.
That's so sexy. Oh, Beast so sexy.
He does have a bit more like muscle to him, doesn't he?
He's like more. He's got something. I love a bit of difference.
No, I'm not joining in. I don't fancy Beast in beast form. I'm not joining in. I'm not rationalising it. That's fucking weird. But I'll let you off because it's a cartoon.
But I fancy him in the real life.
Oh Jesus!
Well. So him and then Prince Eric. Maybe.
This is staying in. You're not editing
this.
No,
this can stay.
You can add me. This is staying in.
This can stay in. But yeah, so I haven't. And then who's the other? Oh, Flynn, because he's like a bit bad, isn't he?
He's a bit like naughty.
I like that. Oh, apparently.
Yeah, Flynn's alright. I don't really thought of any of the other ones.
I don't think any of the others. I think the one from Cinderella is a bit not dense. Is dense the word I want?
Basic in there.
Yeah, I feel like I couldn't have a conversation with him.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I feel like I could not have a conversation with the man from Cinderella. Actually, I forgot a man from Mulan.
Oh!
I can't remember what his
What's
name.
his name? Oh, this is really bad because I bloody love Mulan.
I love Mulan. That's top tier. Oh God, I can't remember.
I'm going to search it. I'm going to search it right now, live on the podcast.
Because they don't put him in the live version, in which I refuse to watch it. I refuse to watch it because he's not in it, and Mushu, I don't think is in it.
Yeah, everyone said they were annoyed because Mushu wasn't in it.
Actually, we need to discuss The Little Mermaid as well.
I'm getting to that, mate.
Yeah. That is straight savage.
I can't spell Mulan. I should have really
Up when they run, up when they stay all day.
How do you spell Mulan?
M-U-L-A.
Oh, I've done it now. It's taken like 17 attempts.
Would you...
Lee.
Reflection is like one of the best. That makes me so sad.
And I always look at the porridge, the congee, and I'm like, give me some porridge with that rice and the eggs. And that bacon. That looks real good.
You'll bring on to... Oh, that's in my head forever.
Right, anyway. So, Little Mermaid, yeah. So, we've literally got derailed so much. She's playing with stuff, she looks at him, Prince Eric's a bit of her, she's like, you mean some of that?
Yeah, he's a bit in the way.
But obviously she can't speak, so she would probably have been like
just flapping around.
Yeah. And then she's like, right, I need to do this. And she goes to Ursula and is like, I need to be able to walk, I like this guy, give me that. She's like, yeah, I can, but I need your voice. She's like the best singer. Everyone's like, you're such a good singer, Ariel, you're amazing. And she's like, fuck it, give me my voice, get me up there, give me some legs. And she's like, all right, I'll give you some legs, She goes up there, she can't speak at all. He's like, what do you want? Can barely walk, she's never used legs before in her life, has she?
Because she not right. What?
This is the loophole. Okay. Everyone's like, honey, just write your name in the fucking sand or some shit. Do you know what I mean? She's always had hands.
Then maybe she can't write. Maybe they're not taught in the...
They're like, ooh.
Fish. That does seem bizarre that they all just speak English down at the bottom of the sea. Right? That's Disney for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, we got to understand it. But yeah, so, yeah, and then what happens after that? She sees him, and then he's like, oh my god. And then she's like, no, this ain't right. I need to get my voice back.
Yeah, and then I think maybe she jumps back in, or she realises it's not what she wanted.
Yeah, because she's like, I can't fall in love with him because he can't see me, he can't speak to me, so we're not in love.
And doesn't Ursula becomes Ariel? Yeah,
she has her voice. Yeah.
And then, is she Ariel, or is she a different woman that comes with Ariel's singing voice?
So they almost kiss, and then Flotsam and Jetsam get it. Furious Ariel, Ursula disguises herself as a beautiful young woman named Vanessa with a singing voice, and then she seduces the prince, and then she finds out they're going to get married because they married fucking quickly.
Why doesn't he marry Ariel?
Because they can't communicate. But then he's wowed by Vanessa's voice, which is Ariel's voice, and they're going to get married. So Sebastian informs Triton, and Scuttle disrupts the wedding with the help of, there's another fish, the goddess to do. In the chaos, the shell around Ursula's necklace is destroyed, which is the shell that holds her voice.
Yeah.
Restoring Ariel's voice, breaking Ursula's enchantment over Eric, so she's like enchanted and fall in love with her. And then Eric realises the girl saved his life, he rushes to kiss her, but then the sun sets and Ariel transforms back into a mermaid and Vanessa transforms into Ursula. Ursula then kidnaps Ariel, Triton confronts Ursula, demanding Ariel's release, but the deal is inviolable. At Ursula's urging, Triton agrees to take Ariel's place as Ursula's prisoner, giving up his trident. Ariel's released, and Triton transforms into a polyp, and then Eric intervenes with a harpoon and kills Ursula, which then they all sort of breaks the spell, and they all live happily ever after. Ariel and Eric are on a ship.
Poor unfortunate souls.
Exactly. So yeah, Eric impales her with his splintered bowsprit, which sounds horrible. It sounds like a whale thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, all the other polyps in Ursula's garden revert to their original forms. Realising that Ariel truly loves Eric, Triton willingly changed her from a mermaid to a human permanently, and proves their marriage, so they get married, and they all live happily ever after.
You don't think the dad couldn't have done it for her before?
Well, he was like, nah, bruv, you ain't going to the surface, mate. And she was like, oh, dude. But she's only a teenager. Do you know what I mean? They're all teenagers in these things. It's like, what you want when you're a teenager, you don't really understand. You're like, I want it now. And you don't really understand the consequences of that.
I want
waffle fries. Exactly. So, it's very similar in the other one. But instead, when she changes her voice, she's like, yeah, you'll be able to walk, but when I take your voice from you, it's going to feel like you've swallowed like a rusty knife. And whenever you walk, you're going to feel like you're dancing. It's going to be excruciating pain. You're going to feel like you're dancing on like knives, basically. So you're not going to enjoy. Yeah, I know. It's so.
Why did you take that deal?
She's loving it.
Oh, Prince. Actually, I suppose he's a bit of a babe.
Yep.
But is he worth that?
So yeah, she's found by the prince. She's passed out. She's taken the serum. She's got legs. She's found naked because why give her clothes? And then he likes to see her dance, and she's dancing for him despite suffering excruciating pain. Soon, Little Mermaid becomes the dance monkey dance. And she's like,
yes,
and then she's his favourite companion. They arrange to marry, but then he decides he's not going to marry the other princess from the neighbouring kingdom. And then, oh my god, we lost it. Then they do get married. So the Little Mermaid gets upset, thinks that she sacrificed all this for that. She's thinking that she's going to die before dawn, because I think the arrangement is she's got to marry him, otherwise she's going to die. And then her sisters rise out of the water, bring her a dagger that the sea witch has given them in exchange for their long and beautiful hair. The Little Mermaid kills the prince and lets his blood drip on her feet. She'll become a mermaid once more. All her suffering will end. she will live her full life in the ocean with her family. However, the Little Mermaid cannot kill him. She can't do it. So she throws the dagger and herself off the ship into the water. Just as dawn breaks, her body dissolves into foam. Instead of ceasing to exist, she feels warm sun and discovers that she's turned into a luminous and ethereal earthbound spirit, a daughter of air. I mean, it's just gone crazy. And the Little Mermaid ascends into the atmosphere. She's greeted by other daughters who tell her she has become like them because she strove with all her heart to obtain an immortal soul. Because of her selflessness, she's given the chance to earn her own soul by doing good deeds in mankind for 300 years, and one day will rise up into heaven. Completely different.
Oh my god.
But like, mermaids have existed quite a lot in like mythology in general, because you have like sirens in like Ovid in the Odyssey even.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. And usually they're kind of scary and they're kind of mean. And
they are scary.
And so like the sirens would like lead sailors to their death. They like enchant them and lead them to their death and like feast on them and stuff. They're not like beautiful, mesmerizing, attractive beings. They're like aquatic demons, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
But obviously they don't exist. So you've got mermen as well, and there's just so many different things. But like I remember watching Peter Pan. Everyone fancied Peter Pan.
Yeah,
because like he was fit. Like not the cartoon version. Yeah, they've always existed, and they're quite scary. But yeah, I fancy Peter Pan. But those mermaids in that film were fucking terrifying.
I think it's the cartoon or the real life version.
The real life version.
I can't really remember it.
Oh, they're like, and they're like trying to drag people in the water.
It's yeah, they are quite scary. I don't think the water is scary.
Yeah, I mean, just not knowing what's below there is quite scary.
Exactly.
So, have you seen the trailer for the new?
I have only seen pieces of it. I'm not very adept with keeping up on things. But I have seen news
social. When you're on social constantly, you see news about social features, not news about everything else.
And I'm like, I'll click on that later. But I did start watching it, but I think it was just the someone talking about it.
Oh, I hate that. When you're like, oh, here's the trailer, and someone's like, so the trailer's just come out. Here's the breakdown. Like, no, I don't fucking want to hear a breakdown. I want to see the trailer.
I respect your work, Mr. Trailer commentator, but give me the trailer.
Give me the trailer first.
And they don't even show you at any point the trailer in the
commentaries. They don't do it and stop.
Brendan Fraser. I was clickbaited so much because I wanted to see the trailer for that. And I couldn't find it anywhere. It's just people
Long story short, she does have a really advanced computer virus now.
Yeah, basically. I've seen The Whale. I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was what it was. But no, I will watch the Little Mermaid. But I don't know. It received almost 2 million dislikes, and because apparently it wasn't like she's underwater.
So there's a mix of things. So the actress who plays Ariel, Halle Bailey, is amazing. She's in Blackish. Blackish is one of my favourite shows.
Cool.
Frank doesn't really get it, but I think it's not made for him because it's not black. No, but it is really good. It's basically just, she's in that. She's in Grownish, which is off of Blackish. And with her sister Chloe in there. They both sing anyway. She's an amazing actress and amazing singer. So she's the main character. And she is mixed race. They've given her red dreads. But she's underwater, so your hair when it gets wet, you're redhead. When your hair gets wet, it looks brown, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly, so it looks brown underwater. So there's people who are like, I'm not racist, but her hair's not red. It's not going to look red underwater, is it? Her hair is cartoon, fire truck red in the cartoon. That's just not going to be achievable in a real person. And so there's people saying that. People saying she didn't look like she's underwater, but if she looked like she's underwater, you wouldn't be able to fucking hear her.
Yeah. Yeah. There's only so much film can do.
It's what it would sound like, do you know what I mean?
It's so, people are just people, aren't they?
Exactly, but the director himself, or the casting director, was like, she was the first person to audition, and she blew me away so much. We auditioned so many other people, but literally no one could beat her.
Yeah, she sounds great.
She sounds fucking phenomenal, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And I get people are like, oh, it's different, but it's still different from the original. The original story of the Little Mermaid. If Disney had made it originally with a black person with dreads, would you be saying that now? But they wouldn't, because when they made it, they were horribly racist. So they wouldn't have done that originally anyway.
But that's the thing, is it's why would you? People want things to be different. They have to be.
But it's got to be their different.
Yeah, it's got to be there. Like Mulan, I'm not going to complain about it because Mulan did it with more, I think, more knowledge in the... But
the difference between Mulan and The Little Mermaid is the story of Mulan, her race is imperative to the story. Her being Chinese is the story. It is about China. In Little Mermaid, her race has got nothing to do with the story.
It means, yeah, it's just...
Same with, obviously Princess and the Frog, they've made it so she's, a black person in New Orleans and that sort of thing, and she's a struggling poor black woman in a society where there's a lot of rich white people. That is part of the story, the way they've sort of adapted it. So, but you could definitely do a version with a white person or with someone of another culture, because it's not actually the fabric of the story itself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that's why some things can be adapted and why some things can't. You can't tell the story of China with people who aren't Chinese, because it doesn't. If it's about Chinese culture and it's about them being Chinese, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think that's the like not having Mushu in it. I'm like, oh, like that's the thing. I'm like, oh my god, and that is.
It would be interesting to see how they did it, but they did Lion King, so. And
I wouldn't decredit the film for it. I think it's just different. Like, I don't enjoy it as much because the tiny dragon is not in it, and I love Eddie Murphy.
I wonder if Sebastian's in The Little Mermaid, because how will we know that it's better down where it's wetter?
Exactly, but things like that will probably be. It's like they make it more serious. But I mean, I'll still watch it because I like The Little Mermaid, but I just hate that she gives all that up for Prince Eric.
Yeah. That's more annoying. That is the thing that people should be annoyed about. They should be annoyed about all the unsolicited, like, sexual advances on all these fucking unconscious women and all the other stories. How in original stories people are cutting off their feet and eating hearts and all this shit. And that a woman gives up her whole identity and to be with a man that she's just looked at and fancies, has no idea if he even likes her, if they even get on, more than the fact that the person who happens to play that character may be not white.
Oh, well, I suppose in a weird... I would have done that probably as a teenager. If they're young, when you're 15, 16, you just fall in love with...
Oh, yeah.
Like, thinking about...
You just fancy someone in your class you've literally never spoken to.
And you'd be like, I'm like in love with them. Yeah, and then...
Like Cassie Starr from Skins, we're like, if they turn around, they love me.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, if he, like, says hi to me today, that means he fancies me.
I was thinking about that, like, how you don't really get that so much anymore with, like, people, because... Like, there's the world of, I guess, Tinder, and there's the world of dating. Like, you go out a few times, you kind of know that person likes you. But it's like in school, or you're like, oh, do they like me? Do they not like me? And I suppose the only way you get that now is kind of with work a bit. That's probably the next environment.
But it's more like if they like you as a person rather than if they like you as a fancy. Because you're like, you just talk to them in a transactional way, especially when you work from home. So we both work from home a lot of the time. Yeah. It's just like, hey, can you get me this?
Yeah, so brutal.
I know, but everyone does it. Everyone knows. You know what I mean?
My friend is just like, I've got a few friends that are just like, you only speak to us when you want something. I'm like, why else would I want to speak to you? And like,
what do I need from you?
I'm like, what's the Disney Plus account? Buzzword. And they're just like, you never speak. But I'm like, if you need, I'm like, call me up. I'm like, I'll meet you face to face. I'm really good at like that.
Yeah.
Meet you face to face, but like messages.
Look, we're already organising Christmas. So yeah, that was Fairy Tales.
Yeah, that was good. That was interesting.
I did. I dove deep. Depth.
Yeah.
Hang on. We did a deep dive. There we go. That was
Little Mermaid pun.
Yeah.
Deep dive.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, deep dive into it's interesting.
There's a lot of like cutting off shit, stabbing shit. There's a lot more violence to these fairy tales.
I like a little bit of violence.
I mean, yeah, add a little spice to it.
A little bit of spice. Because The Lion King was based on Hamlet, wasn't it, by Shakespeare?
Yeah.
So everything's based on something, so...
Yeah.
Sense.
Oh, clearly this is like Emma, isn't it? It's based on Emma.
Yeah.
We love it. We love a little parallel in stories.
I love it. I did my whole dissertation on it.
Did you?
Yeah, I did a modernisation of Shakespeare. I think twice. Oh no, maybe once. I can't remember now. All blurs together.
I didn't do a dissertation. Didn't have to. And I was like, why would I do one if I don't have to? I'll just do a couple of Shakespeare modules. And that's what I did.
So jealous. It's a vibe. A vibe. Yeah, I think it's with fairy tales. I don't know. Well, I prefer it when everything gets a bit crazy. So I prefer the grim versions than the Disney version. Maybe that is my allegiance to horror.
A little bit of chaos.
Yeah, exactly.
Sprinkle a little chaos on it.
Yeah.
Because you want to be like, ooh, will it be happy? And then they all lived happily ever after. Or did they?
Yeah, exactly. I like seeing all like the Disney princesses like modernised. There's all like tattoos and stuff. I like.
Yeah. Have you watched Wreck-It Ralph 2?
No, I think I've only seen the first one.
The second one is quite good. There's a bit where it's like all the Disney princesses they go for like a Disney door and all the princesses are there and they're doing like a little sleepover. It's really cute.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really cute. And Stan Lee makes a little cameo as well. It's very cute. Very, very cute. Well, anyway, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
Let us know what your favourite fairy tale fact is or what your favourite fairy tale is.
Yeah. And if you're a Disney adult or not.
I mean, no shade. I think like what you like. I've got 2 pairs of Disney ears. I've been to 3 different Disneylands. I'm not a Disney adult, but you know, it's the happiest place on earth.
It's like a spectrum of 0 to, do you have this car is powered by fairy dust?
Oh shit, yeah, no, I'm probably a good like middle. Like, yeah, average Disney person.
I reckon I'm below average. I reckon. But the songs are bad, so I can't do the songs justice.
Yeah, the songs are great. I just appreciate the theatricality, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I love a bit of theatre. I love a bit of, like, pizzazz, a little bit of drama. I like that. I like, we can get, like, merch. We can get cocktails. We can get themed food. We can go on really crazy roller coasters.
Yeah, I do like
different flavoured popcorn, depending on where you are. Like, I love that shit.
Yeah, see, that's a vibe.
That's what I like. But, like, I'm not bothered about it being, like, Disney. Although I do like Disney, but I'm not like, oh my god,
yeah.
But like, I like the theatricality of Disneyland. It's like a good theme. I like a theme. I like a good theme.
Yeah, it's like Halloween festival. I love a theme.
Well, we'll look that up. We'll see what happens because I am a fighter. I'm not a fighter. I'm a fighter. I'm pretty sure. So if someone comes too close to me, I'm gonna be like, whoa, I'm scared. I'm sorry, and then I'm gonna be instantly escorted. Doing the escort, like. Yeah. They're like, ma'am, get out. I'm gonna be like that. I'm so sorry. Pay my 60 quid to get in there just to punch someone on minute 2.
Oh, I've seen some things. You know
it's gonna happen, but it may not. Who knows?